Okay, this is take two. I just went to speak and then I had a massive coughing. So again, the minute I start speaking, I've got to do some work on my throat chakra. But anyway, good morning, or it's just afternoon. It's Sunday. It's Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady, coming to you. I've sort of moved to my. You've got a bit of a view of my room here. Um, I wanted to come and pull some cards for the week. And I always on Sundays, I'm like, so what happened this week? And it has been a very, I think, in the atmosphere, it's been, or just generally, it's just been a very weird week. There's been so much going on in the news, and everybody is being pulled in multiple directions. And even my older son, who very rarely talks about things that are happening in the news because we generally avoid all of that, is saying how upset he is about what things are going on. And it's not just affecting the United States, it's affecting everybody. And then interestingly, even though don't follow the news, as this deck that I shared with you before, the Sacred Soul deck, I've been using, and at least one of those is a global message. So I thought I would use this again today. My favorite is still the Goddess deck. And then I've been using Angels and Ancestors, the Kyle Gray deck, as well this week. So I think I'm going to stick to the same things. And then I just wanted to share sort of a couple of things that have happened to me personally. And again, I want to thank everybody for your comments about my posts. And I'm glad that I come across literally, I just want you to feel like I'm having a conversation with you. And because I know that what comes up for me comes up for everybody else or lots of other people. And as I just shared with somebody, like I think as empaths, and most of us doing this work are extremely empathetic, we're feeling everything and it is affecting us. But I want to talk about something so you know that I'm always looking for which path am I on, what am I doing, and I got connected with somebody. So it was sort of through the group that I'm in. Somebody connected me with a few people that were interested in learning and understanding more about dragons to my Facebook page, which is always great when people do that. So thank you, Anne Marie, for doing that. And I certainly do that for people. I'll be like, you might want to look at this person or this person, they might. But it's always nice when we can share, that it's not just about, I've said this before, I'm touching, this little bit, and then other people touch this little bit. But anyway, we connected, and she took me up on my offer of having, just come and let's chat, see if there's anything that, I can help with, or let's talk about dragons, just my clarity call, whether there's some work I can do with you, whatever. But anyway, we connected, but we really connected. And I landed up, I was very drawn to do a reading for her, which, just the information that came through was, for me, even me, was amazing. The images I got, what I shared with her, and it lined up. And just as other than she is a fabulous artist, she also does quantum healing, and we talked a little bit about that. And so she actually, I think she told me, and I think I'm right in this, that she got a very clear message that she needed to connect with me. And this has happened to that happens to me sometimes. Very clear message to connect with me, but both of us weren't sure what the reason, but clearly it was I needed to do that reading. So fast forward, so that was like a couple of weeks ago. And we said, let's stay in touch. Let's see, what goes on. I reached out to her about something. And then I got a very clear message that I needed her to do the quantum healing. And I forgotten that I hadn't really asked her what it was. But anyway, I reached out and we found a time, and I mean, very quickly, she found out that, and I have this lower back issue. A lot of us do. I was a nurse for many years. I've got a spinal stenosis. In England, they used to call it, you have a nurse's back, which is basically you've injured it. It's very calcified, it's very fixed, and sometimes it gives me a lot of pain. Well, she picked up almost immediately that when I was a dragon in a lifetime, my tail was ripped off, literally ripped off. That lower part was just ripped off, and that was why I'd brought that in from lifetimes, and that's why I've always had this lower back pain, which she reattached, sewed up, did some psychic surgery, and almost immediately I felt like the energy going back into it, like the blood going back into it. I got this really nice warmth, sort of healing, like that it was working. And we've been in contact like every other day about that. But she'd also painted this beautiful dragon, and she said, I now know why I painted it. It's for you. So if you've seen my Facebook page, so I got it on Friday. I had an oracle deck, my oracle deck, sitting right here when I was talking to her, and I said, I need to send you my oracle deck. So we did an exchange. So that's always good when you do that. It's been very interesting how that pain has shifted. It hasn't gone immediately. She did say it could take 6 or more days. It would be a dull ache. It's a dull ache, but that whole area has completely shifted. So all I can say is wow. And it was literally, it didn't take 15 minutes, so it wasn't like I had to be worked on for, and that's what happens in the quantum field. That's exactly what happens. That's happened to me when I've done work with my dragons. What could take, a Reiki session could take an hour, hour and a half. With my dragons, 40 minutes. I mean, they've come in and they're like, let's do it. So quantum healing is huge. And I'm going to get more, trust me. So as always, what happens to me, like this, so my tail was attached, I received the painting, and then Saturday morning, I kept hearing, and this is sort of frequently happens to me, I will hear a word that will repeat and repeat and repeat, which makes me go and look, why am I hearing this? So this was what I was hearing. I was hearing Ra Shaha, and they were telling me that was the name of the that's who I was, Ra Shaha, and I wrote it as like Rashaha. And then when I was looking up what could this be, I was drawn to Roshana, which is a Hebrew name associated with Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and it can mean lily or rose. Now this blew me away. Any of you know, if you've heard me talk about this, I had grandmothers who sadly were not they died in their early 70s. One grandmother was Lily and the other grandmother was Rose. So I got full body chills. So you can't, as I said, my message to her was, you cannot make this stuff up. And Rosh Hashanah is coming up on the 22nd. And I was told that I was this dragon and it was my name, and I was associated with the Jewish religion. So, wow, like all of that came with the painting, which is also a portal. It's a portal. It's a beautiful blue. So the feeling is that it is a water dragon. I'm a water sign. Makes sense, right? If I was a dragon, I was a water dragon. I just love it. I have it in my dining room. And last year I painted my interpretation of a golden dragon. for the Year of the Dragon, and that's in my dining room. And I put this underneath, so we have a portal there now, which is awesome. There's dragon eggs, there's a dragon eye, and there's the snake. To me, it's my tail, which came, back to me and was sewed back on. So again, this is another aspect of me. So Edward is my inner dragon who is there to speak. And when I say his name, I always feel I have to speak correctly. The same with Merlin, when Merlin appears. And even, I'm British. It just fascinates me when I get like somebody like a very well-spoken pronunciation, and it makes me literally, I have to speak that way. The same with Merlin. When I say that I can't say connector because he goes, no, you're a connector. And that's how I have to say it. He is a connector and I am the connector. So yeah, language is amazing. And I guess as well, I've shared this before, that, I've had this, the Vatican dragons have come to me. Now I've got I was a dragon in some sort of Jewish religion. I was brought up with no religion, and I was in my school years was fascinated with, I called it the history of religion. I view the Bible that way, that it holds information. It's people's interpretation of what happened. So I've always been fascinated by the Catholic religion, by the Jewish religion. I've had friends, certainly when I was in school, I had friends that were Catholic. When I was in nursing school, I had friends that were Jewish, with Jewish families. I learned a lot about their daily lives, how they lived. I trained at a hospital that was actually had a rabbi attached to it who blessed the food for the patients that we were taking care of. So just fascinating all round, right? And I use that all the time, like amazing. I'm so fascinated, but it's like going on a history trip, right? Which actually my dad, who has been gone many years, was a huge into history, and I just heard him say, "That's my girl." Right, I'm into the history. Oh, I got body chill saying that, but yes, that would be my dad. That's my girl. She's got into the history because I'm getting older. Right? That's what he's going. He goes, well, what do you expect? You're getting older. So that's one of the interesting things, is that a lot of my family members didn't live into their 70s. So I am extremely fortunate that I'm living in this, and I have that. I'm very fortunate, so I can't say anything else. So yeah, I don't really want to talk about what's going on in the world, because we all have got that from whatever's happening. So let's see what the cards have to tell us. And again, I would love to hear how things are. Solar plexus, that's the other thing. My solar plexus a couple of days ago, so it's Sunday, Friday and Saturday, my solar plexus felt like it was on fire, front and back. It was, I think there was there's been so much happening out there. Like we've had the moon eclipse, we've had the Schumann resonance is doing weird things, the solar flares, the moon, the sun. There's just so many things happening that of course it's affecting us, right? We have to remember that. And it's just like, okay, my nervous system, actually on Wednesday night, with the group that I belong to, we did have a galactic healing, and they worked on our nervous system. It got an upgrade, and I've certainly felt it. I've just realised that that's probably what happened, because I've felt, and other people have said this, feel like something is going to happen in the next, I think by the, the equinox is on the 21st. I should know that because I'm going to a fair. So next weekend I'm out in Western Mass, and then I'm taking a week off work and going up into the White Mountains, which will be interesting because my son has already said, well, it doesn't matter if it's cloudy because you'll be able to talk to the dragons. So, oh, interesting. I'm just asking what's going on this next coming week for the globally. So these are the three that have come up: resistance, intolerance, and we need to be adaptable. All right, let's see if there's anything else on that. So the resistance is holding onto old beliefs and refusing to adapt can hinder personal growth. That, again, is a global message, right? Holding on to old beliefs. I have to let those old beliefs go. Intolerance. Difficulties are seen as threats rather than growth. Rather than growth opportunities, be inclusive. Intolerance, and adaptability. Think outside the box and find creative solutions to life's challenges. There's the tiger. And then no boundaries. So this is all global. I was asking for messages globally. Difficulty to establish healthy respect. Take care to ensure your needs are met. So this upcoming week, it's a ripple effect, remember. So even though there's not much we can do individually, that's not right. What we can do individually is that when there's resistance, we need to not hold on to those old beliefs, right? We need to let those old belief systems go, because it shouldn't matter what religion we are, what political side we're on, whatever colour we are, it shouldn't matter. But there's huge intolerance, so we need to be more tolerant and see the differences are not threats, but see them as growth. And we